Hi guys, it's Sarah from Book Nerds and Fangirls, and today I will be doing my Season 3, Episode 8 review of Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. Warning in advance, this review does contain spoilers for this episode, so go ahead and watch the episode, and whenever you're ready, come back and watch my review. I greatly appreciate all of you that watch my reviews because I really love making reviews for this episode. For these episodes, the reason why I skipped the winter finale of Crazy Ex-Girlfriend is because I didn't really think it added anything to the plot, per se, so I just let that review slide. I didn't really have much to say on the episode, except I was so glad that Nathaniel and Rebecca are getting along and starting this new relationship, because I really like Nathaniel and Rebecca together. They're like my babies, and this episode plays around my babies, and it was such a very interesting episode to watch. I wouldn't say it was my favorite Crazy Ex-Girlfriend episode to watch, but there's a lot of emotion and comedy in it, and that's one thing I get about Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, but at the same time, I kind of wish they would stick with one pace, because the up and down, I get why they're doing the up and down, but at the same time, it's kind of frustrating sometimes. Sometimes, like, the first half of Season 3 really packed an emotional punch for me. For me, it was just so great, and it was so good. And that's why it ended up on my favorites of 2017 list. So that's what made it number 1 in my personal opinion. Was, like, being comedic all while packing an emotional punch for me. And I really wanted to keep steady with that tone, and I'm afraid that if it goes towards the more funny route again, it's not gonna have the same tone as the rest of the season, which will ultimately make Season 3 fail, because one thing I do notice about Crazy Ex-Girlfriend is that the beginnings of the season are really strong, and they start to dwindle down somewhat during the second half of the season, and I really don't want that. So we'll see how this goes. We'll see. So, 2 videos that I am planning on doing at the end of Season 3 are my favorite songs from all 3 seasons, ranked in order, and, of course, my Season 3 finale review, and I'm planning on doing my favorite episodes of Crazy Ex-Girlfriend so far, because I can't believe I've been watching this show for 3 years. 3 years, this show came out exactly when I needed it to come out. It came out whenever I was in a long-distance relationship with my husband, and it was just the show to get me through that. And I have such an emotional connection with this show, and I really do hope it does well in the ratings, so we could get a Season 4. Fingers crossed. I don't see it going past 5 seasons, but as long as I get another season, to wrap it all up, I'll be happy. This is such, a great mental health show, let me tell you. So, I'm gonna do this review a little bit different today. Since there are 3 storylines in this episode, I'm gonna talk about each storyline individually, because while trying to tape this review earlier, I noticed that it wasn't really coming together like I hoped. And that's because there is so much to talk about in the separate storylines. So I'll talk about my least favorite storyline first, which is Josh and his mom, then roll into Paula and Daryl's storyline, and then finally end with Rebecca and Nathaniel's storyline, because it was my personal favorite of the episode, and it was just, I love my baby so much. I really do hope for the best next week. For those of you that watch the preview. So, Josh and his... Let's start off with Josh's perspective in this show. So Josh is at his mother's house, and he's packing up the things in his childhood bedroom because he has lived with his mother for about a month or two at this point, I think, and his mother finally wants him out of the house so she could start this daycare center, and his room is gonna be the playroom, but she gives him the task of cleaning out his closet because he hasn't started packing yet. He doesn't want to move out with Hector, but his mom wants him to move out. And while cleaning his closet, Josh stumbles on to his old childhood karaoke set where he starts to sing songs from his childhood. So you get to see him do that. There's not a lot of scenes of Josh, and I'm glad that there's not a lot of scenes of Josh in this season because not the fact that I hate Vincent Rodriguez III. I think from what I know about him, he's a great guy, but I don't really like his character, so the less I see of Josh, the better. But his storyline was kind of weak in this one. Even though his last scene, Rebecca, I did appreciate. So finally, his mother has had enough of him not cleaning out his closet, so she takes the mic away from him and sings the song "Get Your Ass Out of My House," which is actually kind of funny, but also so relatable to parents that might feel the same way. Same way, like, I showed this song to my husband, and he's like, we really need to keep that song in mind for when our kids need to move out of the house. And I'm like, yeah, we definitely do. But anyway, so after that song, Josh has a revelation that he doesn't really want to grow up, but life is pushing him to grow up. And his mom's like, well, welcome to growing up. Sometimes you just don't know where you're gonna land, but you can be anywhere as long as it's not in my house. So now that Josh's life is crumbling a bit, he's starting to see that maybe he has done people wrong. So he goes not to apologize to Rebecca, which actually makes me really pissed off at him that he hasn't fully apologized for what he did her. I don't really care what mental health condition she has. It's still not an excuse for him to treat her like shit. Most of the time, but I did appreciate him coming to her house and saying thank you to her because if it wasn't for her, he wouldn't have figured out that he needed to change his lifestyle in order to survive in the world. And I did appreciate that moment, but I am saying, please, no more Josh and Rebecca. I like them better as friends. I would have liked them better as friends. I don't think it's plausible at this moment. I think they're both just kind of done with each other. I don't think they want each other in each other's lives anymore, but we'll see. We'll see what's going on with that in later episodes. Please no more Josh and Rebecca, because it's an extremely toxic relationship, and it needs to stop. I don't even think there's a lot of, I haven't researched how many Josh and Rebecca shippers there are, so I don't even know how many of them are still left, but yeah. So coming up on our next plot talking point is Paula, Daryl, and the egg donor? So what's happening in this storyline is that I don't know why I keep on wanting to mess up names today. Is that Daryl is looking through a catalog of potential egg donors so he could have a child. A child, which brings one of like the greatest comedic scenes in this episode of her trying to choose his egg donor. Egg donor is all like, I got this, so she thinks she has chosen the perfect one, and Daryl is very lost and wants to really have this baby, but he's not sure if he's ready. And Paula's all like, I don't really think you're good at much, but I know you're great at being a dad. And that was like a touching moment for me, but Paula takes it upon herself to find the perfect egg donor for Daryl, which causes problems in this episode, obviously, because nothing could really go right in Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, but that's why we love it so much. So much because not a lot of things do go right most of the time. So she thinks she's found the perfect egg donor. She doesn't smoke. She is a lawyer. And she looks like she has the perfect genetics and face in order to make a baby with Daryl. So Paula takes it upon herself to call the egg donor service and say, well, we want this donor, and then they tell her this donor is no longer available. So Paula, wanting nothing more to get her perfect egg donor, stalks this girl and finds out that this egg donor is not all what she seems. This egg donor wants her to keep on paying for this child's life for the next 18 years so she doesn't have to, which, by the way, if you're an egg donor, you don't get paid, but it's kind of like a term in service so she could keep her, so they could keep that child, and for her not to tell the police that Paula was stalking her because it's illegal. And then Paula takes it upon herself to tell Daryl that this egg donor is no good, stop the surrogacy, but it's already being implanted in the surrogate. But then Nathaniel, like, I genuinely feel really sorry for not Nathaniel. I genuinely feel really sorry for Daryl in this episode because I could tell how much he wants this. He really wants to make this baby, but the eggs didn't take, and that moment's very crushing for me because it's such a relatable thing, and we find out that Daryl spent a lot of money to try to make this happen, so he could only do it once a year because it does cost a lot of money to do, so I teared up at that, and the whole Daryl, this whole storyline is very, very touching. I don't really see a lot of storylines in a comedy show, at least not the kind that I watch, so there's that. And it was a touching one, and then I remember this one song. It was called, what is it? My sperm's healthy, and oh my god, it's just, like, oh my god, guys, it was gross, but it was funny gross, like satire gross, so I loved it. So, the last song we're gonna be the last storyline we're gonna be talking about is Nathaniel and Rebecca, my babies. My precious, precious babies, my OTP of this show. this show. Like, like my brain is getting tired, so I apologize for stumbling so much on this, guys. So, this storyline shows Nathaniel and Rebecca, they're in their lovey-dovey bubble. Rebecca is actually really happy, but we all know the happiness for Rebecca could be her mental illness or just be her. So this storyline explores that while exploring Nathaniel and his dad's relationship, while exploring a crazy theory that Rebecca gets in her head after stalking his dad, and it's just like, it's the most touching storyline in this episode. It's why I loved this episode so much. Like, I probably wouldn't have liked the episode as much if it wasn't for these moments in Nathaniel and Rebecca's storyline. So what happens is that Rebecca starts noticing patterns in her relationship with Nathaniel that are similar to her and Josh's. Like, she's being all lovey-dovey, like hypertensive lovey-dovey. Like she's kissing on Nathaniel, making cute baby talk to Nathaniel. She is sniffing his shirt and wearing it to her therapist office. So she takes this time to generally find out and talk to Nathaniel, because she wants it to be more than just a sexual relationship that she just clings on to very unhealthily. So while talking to Nathaniel and her support group, like, support group scene was actually kind of funny, I'll admit. So while talking to Nathaniel, she finds out that Nathaniel wishes that he has had a better relationship with his dad. So Rebecca takes it upon herself to rekindle the relationship between Nathaniel and his dad. So she enlists the help of George for this one. To track down Nathaniel Plimpton Sr. at a golf course where they uncover a secret that Rebecca blows way out of proportion at first glance, which goes to show you that nothing's really as it seems when you first think about it. So we have the scene where George and Rebecca are together on the golf course. She sees Nathaniel Plimpton Sr. go into a car. At first she's thinking that he's having an affair with this woman, so she follows Nathaniel Sr. to a house in suburbia, where she finds Nathaniel Plimpton's mistress and his daughter, who she believes is Nathaniel's sister. And she really wants to tell Nathaniel that he has a sister, which I had a problem with this storyline right there and then. Because one, it's not really any of your business to tell Nathaniel that he has a sister, no matter how lonely he doesn't want to be. Be like, he has you, and yeah, it'd be awesome, but it's not really anyone's place except his mom and dad's to tell him that. But let's get past that storyline. So she sets up this arrangement between Nathaniel and his sister. She crashes into his sister's car in order for them to meet. So she introduces Nathaniel to this girl she believes is his sister, and then come to find out that it's not really his sister, that Nathaniel actually knows this girl, and it's the daughter of one of his father's colleagues, that's worked for him for 20 years, and Rebecca's confused as to why Nathaniel Plimpton Sr. would do that. Why would he go and visit this one individual when he has so many employees? Because that it's one of his faithful employees at 20 years, and he pays her daughter's education that they invite him over to dinner in secret, so his other employees won't get jealous and accuse him of favoritism, which makes sense in a way, but at the same time, I'm all like, okay, but there might be more to the story than meets the eye. I have no clue. I could tell where she got the impression where they might be brother and sister, because they do kind of look alike. But we'll see if it goes anywhere with that. But yeah, that. So Nathaniel tells Rebecca that they need to talk, and then I'm crushed because I think that they're gonna break up at that moment. So he takes her back to his place, and they're having dinner, and she just wants him to tell her if he wants to break up with her or not. She's begging him to tell her, and this is where I really love Nathaniel. He's all like, yeah, you did cross the line, and yeah, you shouldn't have done it, and maybe you should have probably talked to her first before, you did all this, but I knew you were doing it for me, and that's why I love you. I don't love you for the sex, I just love you because, well, actually not love. I wouldn't say love, I think he likes her. I don't know if he said love or like, but he liked her because of her craziness, and that's, all I really want is for someone to accept Rebecca for who she is. And Nathaniel is so sweet and understanding about this disorder that she can still have for the rest of her life. And that's where I just love Nathaniel. So after contemplating what she's done, Rebecca goes back to her apartment and realizes that she's doing a lot of the different patterns, and that maybe it's not a very healthy relationship she should be in right now. So she goes to Nathaniel's place in order to, I assume, break up with him at the end of the episode, and I'm like, oh no, not my babies. I really love these two. But I would appreciate the show for being so ballsy as to have Rebecca take a step back from this relationship and really think, because I don't think she's fully healed yet from what Josh did to her, and she needs to understand her disorder more and cope with it. But I don't think she needs to, fully stop seeing Nathaniel. They could still be friends for a while, because Nathaniel really does seem like the type to just wait for Rebecca while she has the time, and give her the time she needs in order to discover who she really is with this mental disorder. New diagnosis, and that's why I love about this couple, because they build each other up instead of tearing each other down, and it's amazing, and I love my babies so much. But there you guys have it. That was my review for Crazy Ex-Girlfriend Season 3, Episode 8. What is your thoughts on the episode, and who do you ship? Are you a Josh and Rebecca shipper, Greg and Rebecca, or Nathaniel and Rebecca? I would love to know your comments down below so we can have a discussion about it. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!